Hello and very warm welcome. I'm Dr. Sohail Qureshi from our London studios of Quews TV channel, and I'm bringing you my show Election 2024 Pakistan. In this show, we bring well-known, famous and reputable Pakistani politicians and other eminent thinkers and journalists and opinion makers, and we ask them the questions about the elections 2024, whether they are happening or not and what is going on. Today we are privileged and honored to have a very senior politician, Supreme Court lawyer, human rights activist, and the stalwart of Pakistan People's Party, as well as the founder member of the Pakistan People's Party with the late Zulfikar Ali Bhutto Shaheed and late Benazir Bhutto Shaheed. We will ask Sardar Latif Khosa about his life journey and how over the years that he saw the democracy under martial laws and developing in its nascent form to where it is right now. We will also ask Sardar Latif Khosa's probably change of heart and his journey from the Pakistan People's Party to coming closer to Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf of Imran Khan, the chairman and the former Prime Minister of Pakistan who is in prison. Sardar Latif Khosa has been actually representing Imran Khan in over 200 cases against him. That includes corruption, terrorism, and mutiny. So please join me and very warm welcome to Sardar Latif Khosa again. It is a tremendous honor and privilege to have Sardar Latif Khosa from Pakistan, as I said before. So thank you very much, Khosa Saab, to come here. And we narrowly missed you in London in your last visit. And you promised us next time you'll definitely grace our London studio. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. I would have been privileged to be with you, but due to the paucity of time, unfortunately, I couldn't make it. But the next time, inshallah.
Definitely. Well, when I was researching about you, the most illustrious son of the soil, one thing I noticed that people do not know much about your personal life, your political life, and your journey in life. And I thought it will be nice to really talk about that before we go to the deep end of the politics and what's going on. So I know you are in Lahore, but is that your hometown, sir?
No, not really. It's only 300 miles from here. I belong to Dera Ghazi Khan. Dera Ghazi Khan happens to be the center of Pakistan. It abuts all the 4 provinces. It's the Ko-Suleiman terrain, 150 miles on the one side is Balochistan and on the other side is Punjab. And on the northern side is KPK, which is Dera Ismail Khan. And on the southern side, again, we have Quetta Baloch, Sindh, which is Kand Coat. So it's in the center of Pakistan that Dera Ghazi Khan is located. And at one time, this was going to be the capital of Pakistan, being in the center, connecting all the 4 provinces. But since Ayub Khan happened to be from Hazara, so that was a convenient place, Islamabad, which was selected as the capital of Pakistan, where it was shifted from Karachi, because Karachi happened to be the most vulnerable city and also one of the cosmopolitan cities. And it was found conducive to shift the capital somewhere in the center of Pakistan.
Well, the Khosa family is really well known for being the landlords, or Jagirdar, as we say. And I know that they have been always in politics. So what brought you to law, or for that matter, where did you have your education? Did you have any family background, or?
Well, actually, we happens to be Khosa family, yes, as you said rightly. The Khosos are in Sindh also, and they are in Balochistan and in Dera Ghazi Khan. Our family happens to be the chief family, so there were 3 brothers. One of the brothers, that is our forefather, he took a the Holy Quran, which is means the book. And so it transcended into our blood and genes, and we got into the educational domain. Whereas Sardar Zulfikar Ali Khosa's, the other son's father and great-grandfather, they took the drum, which is the Sardari, and which is politics and all about it. And the third brother, he took a sword. And so they were warriors, and the genes traveled even till date. They are all traveling. But so my village, which is Basti Jahan Khan, happens to be at the bottom of the hilly areas. On the other side is the mountainous terrain, and on this side is the river Sindh, the Ganges, which is the mighty Ganges. So they were, and there was no road, and there was no electricity, and so from our village there was an urge to get out of that, and so we were educated in such a manner that all my sisters, even they were double graduates, because my father happened to be the first graduate in the Khosa family. So he took us all. My mother was a totally uneducated person, but what a fine lady she was. She never got out of that court, we call it, from the premises in which the house that we belonged, because she loved that so much. The aunt, when we used to go there, my mother used to. There was a buffalo which did not allow anybody else to come near, and my mother used to make me sit on the lap, and she would just blow and milk the animal and putting one into my mouth, and it was such a hot streak of milk going into half into my mouth and half spanning over my face. It was tremendously lovely time that I spent in my village. But then I got my education, because my father happened to be also in the service. He was registrar, the deputy registrar, then registrar. So I got education in Lahore, St. Anthony's was my basic education. Then I went to your, because my one of grandfather, who's paternal, on the paternal side, he's Asif Said Khosa, who was the Chief Justice of Pakistan. His Dada and my Nana. So he said that you have to put him now in the Urdu medium, because the Britishers had two types of educations in the subcontinent. One was for the elite class, which is the HSN College and other English media, A level and O level, or at that time it was the senior Cambridge and junior Cambridge. And he said that I've seen him now, even in the third standard, he speaks so fluent English that he'll never find short of the language so far as English is concerned. But in all, he will be not to the up to the mark in a futuristic Pakistan. So you have to blend him now with the Urdu language, because otherwise he'll be proud, he'll be arrogant, and he will be as the Britishers wanted the elite class, the ruling class, which is the English medium. So I was put in Central Model School, and my father took me straight from the English medium to the Urdu medium, and I found such a difficulty, believe you me. When the teacher training course, I was in the 7th class, I was upgraded, I took a double promotion. And then when the teacher, what did the vernacular pronunciation that the teachers had over there, what did Qaeda do for Pakistan? And I, as a 7th class student, I raised my hand. He said, yes. I said he fought for the cause of Pakistan with patience and servitude. And the teacher said, come down, Mr. It's gone about my. So I could see that difficulty, but nevertheless, I then got into the Urdu media, and then from there I went to this Government College Lahore, and then University Law College, and I was the best speaker Punjab universities, and I was the president of the Students' Union, because there was one law college at that time in the whole of Punjab, and rather Pakistan. We had a few like SM Law College in Sindh, which we did not really recognize as a standard institute. But nevertheless, this is how I educated myself. So I'm a pure Pakistani by education, with no foreign degree or foreign university education.
Wow, amazing. What a rich history, what a rich lifestyle, from buffalo's milk to the most illustrious and a famous Supreme Court lawyer, human rights activist, and a politician, and the governor of province of Punjab. So did you ever think that you will achieve these heights when you were in DG Khan or in Central World School for that matter?
Well, I think it transcended in my blood. I always thought big, and I even now I believe you have to think big. You have to have a passion to achieve something in life, because without thinking big, you cannot really achieve and become something. So I had this right from the beginning, and when I was in the student president of the University Law College, I used to call judges from Hague International courts from Hague. I used to call judges at my functions, and we used to have debates of an international standard. Diplomacy is allergic to reason, or classic topics concerning the economy of the world, or the global warming, or climatic conditions, or equitable distribution of wealth, and so things. We used to think even those things, and at that time, so I used to call judges from Hague. Sir Zafrullah was also one of them. And then we used to have all Pakistan intercollegiate debates. And I had so many trophies which were full. My room was filled up. We didn't have money enough, so we used to sell one cup for 150 rupees in Pakistan, in Anarkali. And then some of the friends we used to have go to a movie, or to a hotel or a restaurant, and have a sumptuous dinner. So that was something amazing. And then my mother used to preserve my cups over there in the village. And then when I used to go, she used to show it to all of her siblings and say that this is the achievement of my son. So anyway, that I never looked back in life. But see, from a small village without any road and without any electricity, and without any transportation, we used to travel on a camel and sit in the night time, and reach Dera Ghazi Khan, the city, in the next morning, because it took the whole night on a camel to travel there. And the mighty Ganges, you see, there was no bridge over there, so the steamer used to get sometimes stuck in it, and then we used to it used to be pulled somehow, and the camel used to be there on the steamer, and the pedestrians used to be there, and so it was really very sort of a life with contentment, full of joy and contentment, and never thought that life was difficult. Life was, in fact, easy. It was accommodating each other. There was more of love and affection and brotherhood and amity and homogeneity and everything that you can conceive. You had all the time in the world to gossip around and be amongst friends. So even the social life was very convenient. But since, as I always wanted to do something good, not only by people, for the country, for my profession, whichever I went. So, you see, in my village, there was one Chief Justice of Pakistan, my first cousin. The other one, was from a small village. Other one was Chief Secretary when I was the governor, and then he was Principal Secretary to Nawaz Sharif, and then he was in the United Nations, Latif Khosa, and then Tariq Khosa was Inspector General Police. In the police hierarchy, he was also at the top. So there was no mediocrity, concept of mediocrity in our family. There is no concept of mediocrity. So all my brothers, my sisters, even my daughter, who is a barrister, and then my sons, mashallah, they are all of them. One of them is in Vancouver, who has 3 continents. He has citizenship or nationality. So from that point of view, I think we are blessed in the sense, blessed by Almighty Allah. There is nothing special tribute that you can pay to me or anybody else, except that it is God Almighty Allah alone who has bestowed us this prestigious, unique position in the Baloch tribes. In fact, as a matter of fact, if I may say so, the entire Baloch tribe. I even interacted with Buktis and Mangals. I've been their lawyer, and different Baloch tribes. So I've been always telling that in a knowledge-based era, educational excellence alone is something. And if the Balochs, who are the largest tribes or largest in Pakistan, if they get united, they can, you see, they can be on the top elite positions of the government and in politics and in any field they want to, because they are very, very fertile, coming from that barren, that hilly terrain, and having the urge, because we have not indulged in licentious activities. If you have the TV facilities, you have all the facilities which are lacking and which are wanting in Balochistan and in those parts of the world. So there is an urge to break up the shackles and be something and achieve something. With that passion and determination, there is no stoppage at all. Except, of course, Allah should be on your side, and always be thankful to Allah Almighty, and always be askance of His forgiveness and His blessings, because it is not within your prowess, it is within God. Life is not within your control, it is within God. Again, respect and position is also that bestowed by God Almighty. So these are 5 things which Allah has kept: life, death, respect, and position. And these are things which only Allah alone can give you, nothing else, because it is He who gives you that position. Otherwise, everybody wants and prays that he should be on the top of the world. But again, it is Almighty Allah who bestows this. So I am a firm believer that it is, you keep on working. Yes, Allah has Himself said that you research, and because I have given you so much of riches down beneath the earth and up into the heavens and skies. I have given you everything. It is for you now to research and work for that, and I will bestow it upon you. Again, it is Allah who bestows and gives that, because Allah Almighty is not just Allah of the Muslims. He is Almighty of the entire universe, and so is Muhammad, peace be upon him, our holy prophet. He is merciful not only to the Muslims but to the entire universe. So therefore, we are just being possessive that Allah is ours, that Muhammad is also our prophet because we are Muslims, so we have that. No, nothing of that nature. Absolutely nothing. We do not follow the commandments of Allah and the Sunnah of our prophet, and we claim to be Muslims, and we say that He will give us everything. That is absolutely not correct. You have to, Allah has Himself given that command. Muhammad Prophet has also commanded you that you follow the right path, and the righteous will only be given that. See, look at we unfortunately do not follow the Sunnah and the Quran. We have placed the Quran in the highest shelf of our almirah over there, and only on 2 occasions we use it. Either when we when on a marriage we are seeing off our daughter or our sister or whatever, or we are putting somebody in the graveyard and we are then putting the Quran and reciting it. This is not absolutely what Allah ordains or Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yeah.
He
Thank you.
commands. So therefore, anybody who works, whether he's a Muslim or a non-Muslim, Allah has given him everything. They've conquered the earth. They've conquered the skies as well, and continuously they are doing it. When we had that vision, we were dominating the world. The Muslims were at the elite of medicine, algebra, the cosmopolitan world, and everything. They were nowhere with even near us. The rest of the world, whether they were Christians or they were Jews or whoever. But now that this, unfortunately, we have been bogged down by this mullah, I must say, who is illiterate mullah. He has given those fatwas to such an extent that our power of thinking has been clogged down and bogged down under that dogma of illiteracy. And that is why now we are beggars rather than being pioneers and leaders in the world. And unfortunately, because we have a fractured society all over in our Muslim world, it is vulnerable, because when you are a fractured society, then you are vulnerable, and then you are susceptible to all influences, be it theoretical, be it practical, be it dogmatic, or whatever type it is. And this is what we are facing in the fifth generation war. This is how the Muslim world, unfortunately, even a tiny Israel, the Gaza, look at what is happening in Gaza. It's a genocide of Muslims. You just look at the sight and you tremble in your feet that anybody be that cruel what is happening over there. But the Muslim Ummah, with 56 countries surrounding all over Gaza, we are not even able to deliver the humanitarian aid that they need. Even there, Egypt has shut its doors and it is just trickling when there is mounted on that. So I think there are many things, unfortunately, which one really pains even to consider. You shudder even to consider these things. Now, in a global village, you cannot remain in isolation. So in that global village, you have to be proactively contributory. If the United Nations has been hijacked by the United States of America, and which is over dominantly Jewish, and Israel is therefore doing everything obduracy at will. It is not only killing the Muslims, it is just trampling over and conquering the territories of the Muslims. And there's a
It is very
genocide which is taking
interesting,
place. I don't know whether it's a 9/11 by choice, by designation, by creation, or it was ignited by somebody. Hamas should have seen that by initiating this, by taking a momentary glamour or a glory. Are you not? What did you expect from Israel? Israel was destined to see response in such a violent manner that there would be no comparison at all. Israel is not just a tiny country. In fact, the United States of America is entirely and completely behind it, and so is the West. While on the other hand, Muslims are all fractured and fighting inter-sea between themselves. And we find turbulence in all the Muslim world and the Muslim countries. At one time, we had the pride in Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. He was leader of the Muslim fraternity at that time. He had a OIC, it was his brainchild. He had a Muslim commerce, a Muslim bomb, which was an atomic bomb, and Shah Faisal stood by him, and there were big leaders, unfortunately, all-time greats who have been eliminated, who one after the other were either eliminated or murdered or hanged or whatever. You can just compare it. It's not the time that if I start on reciting, there'll be no end to it. But nevertheless, we have been now reduced into such a position where we find ourselves absolutely helpless even before a tiny Israel, and we are seeing this strip being completely erased into ashes, and Israel is just walking through across that, and maybe we would just see in a couple of days, because even Joe Biden says nothing doing, no ceasefire. Every time there is a resolution moved, it is vetoed by the superpower. And so unless Israel has a complete washout and complete elimination of at least 224 million people, because there are 24 million people in Gaza, and I really see even shudder in my shoes when I get the impression that all 24 million people would be butchered, and there'll be mass graves created for them, and there'll be not even a name left to mourn any one of them. And this is how the world will again go on with that genocide going along. And this we are seeing in 2023. Kindly see. Look at the world has transgressed. There's social media. Everybody is looking at everything that is happening. And still the conscience of the world, although we see even the Christians and Jews and Muslims all around the world, all over the world, we see them marching and barraging on the streets and trying to, with banners in their hands, that stop the war, stop the genocide, stop the killing. Even the hospitals are not being spared. Even the hospitals are also being ransacked. Has it ever happened? Where is the United Nations now to say that at least even in terms of war you spare the hospitals, you don't hit the ambulances, you don't kill those who are already dying, and you don't squeeze them to death. This is death by inches. You have shut off the electricity, you have shut off the water, you have shut off everything, the food and everything. How do you expect that the going to survive? So all are going to die, and this is how the world is looking at it, shamelessly looking at it. And the Muslims, 56 country with 2 billion people around the earth, they should be ashamed. I think they must at least try to stop this mad war being imposed, even though it may have been ignited by Hamas. Nevertheless, there is no proportion now. There is absolutely no proportion, because the proportionality, the principle of proportionality has to be, if there is a wrong or there is a fault, there has to be a proportional rectification or a reaction to that. When it takes the shape of a genocide, then it is absolutely war, and war crimes are being committed against humanity. So it's not just a question of the Palestinians being butchered, it is humanity which is being butchered. So I
Well,
feel very strong and very
I'm
sad
glad that
about
you
it.
touched on that, Khosa Sahib, and thank you very much for your very candid thoughts. And and I, frankly speaking, the entirety of your thoughts were amazing. So, what is happening in Pakistan? You know, because obviously Pakistan is the fifth largest population-wise countries in the world, seventh nuclear power with close to 1 million-man army. So, what are we doing about Gaza and Palestinian?
Well, I think with a caretaker, I call them chair-takers.
Why is this that there is a
Unfortunately,
lot of
because the case represents.
there are a lot of processions all over the world. People are in the streets in London. Just recently, we saw well over 300,000 people marching for ceasefire and for Palestine. But we don't see something like that in Pakistan. Is Pakistan army, have they lost their compass to support Palestinian? It's only a lip service?
I think it's a lip service by the government as well as by the establishment. I don't see really that emotional outburst which should have been visible because here we see human rights violation in our own country. They are so rampant that this has never happened in the last 50 years, at least, that I have seen the socio-political situation in Pakistan. Unfortunately, we have deprived the people of their fundamental rights, and basic human rights are also being violated within our own country. So, our cause in Kashmir, what is happening in Kashmir, we've been condemning Modi as Hinduism being enforced, and we have said that secularism in India has evaporated with Modi, and unless there is a Pakistani bashing by the Indian government. They think every now and then by Pakistani bashing or otherwise, trying to put blame on Pakistan by saying that they are exporting terrorists and whatever, all these things. So own cause has been weakened on that account, because they say, look at your own conditions. Your own press and your own international media is clamoring that there are no fundamental rights being provided, being preserved and protected by the Pakistani, the establishment of the government or whatever, the Pakistani government. So our stance in the global arena is weakening on that account, because if you want to condemn somebody violating the human rights, you have first to show that you are observing and protecting the human rights of your own people before you talk about others that they are violating the human rights. So our voice unfortunately stands weakened, and there was a time when everybody stood in unison behind the government whenever they took a decision. But here the government is denying the people of their fundamental rights. Even the fundamental right to vote has been taken away. Even the fundamental right of elections is not being adhered to under the constitution within 90 days. And even the caretaker government who are they should have been there only for 90 days. For 90 days also only mandated to carry on day-to-day business and otherwise to create an environment congenial for the holding of fair and free and transparent elections. But that is not even in the priority of the caretaker, and then that is why I was saying caretaker government, because they don't. So where is the question of our own national unity, national cohesion? That unfortunately is wanting and lacking in this part of the. You have to give ownership. So you have to give ownership to the people themselves. Now we are a country of 250 million people. There are 10 million people, Pakistanis, who are spread all over the world. So even those, they are more patriotic than, believe you me, that I am sitting here. They are more patriotic
So
than me and any
what would
other
you say,
person. Their heart.
Mr. Khosa, what would you say that there's a lot of speculation that the election 2024, which were announced, they will not happen, and people are saying basically is a martial law in the shape of some kind of a semblance of democracy under a caretaker. So the question is this: that number one, that elections are going to happen or not, and number two, your personal journey, probably from People's Party to representing PTI. Are you joining PTI?
I'll answer the first. I am, you see, I am one of the pioneers of Pakistan People's Party. Our People's Party was created on the strength of rights to the people of Pakistan. Takat ka sarchashma awam hai. You see, strength lies with the people of Pakistan. Now, this was indicated by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto right in the Constitution, Article 7 of the Constitution. Article 7 defines the state. And the state means the district assembly and the district government, the provincial assembly and the provincial government, parliament and the national government or the federal government. This is all about people. People, through their electoral process, right from the grassroots to upper to the center, they elect their people, and from there the assemblies come into being, and from the assemblies, amongst the assemblies, the governments are formed. This is all the state defined in the constitution. And Article 5 says loyalty to the state, which means loyalty to the people, and obedience to the Constitution is the inviolable obligation of every citizen. Every citizen, be he the army chief, be he the Chief Justice of Pakistan, be he the Prime Minister or the President, anyone, down right to the top, they have to see their allegiance, owe their allegiance to the people and obedience to the Constitution. There is no third force. Unfortunately, we have reversed the pendulum. We have equated the government as the state. The people have been rendered subservient to the government. The the government has been rendered subservient sometimes to the judiciary by virtue of their verdict, and all of them have been rendered subservient to the establishment, the armed forces. Now, so the people have been thrown into the abysmal dismay of poverty, and there is nobody to cater for their rights, which are guaranteed in the Constitution as inviolable, as indefeasible. Their right of life, the right of liberty, right of speech, right of association, right of property, right of information, name anyone. We have one of the best constitution articulating fundamental rights of the people. But unfortunately, we never comply or carry them out. We don't, when we are in the opposition, we talk about all the fundamental rights, the rights
Khosa
of the
Sahib, it
media,
appears to me that the things are very fluid politically, vis-a-vis elections, what's going to happen. There's so many different kind of views and political opinions going on. My last question will be that you met Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman Imran Khan lately, and we would like to hear from you, and we'll definitely have another interview with you because you are the font of knowledge and wisdom, and people definitely would like to hear that. So my question to you, the penultimate question to you is, so how did this meeting go with Imran Khan, and what is happening PTI's strategy for the elections?
Well, I have meetings with him periodically because yesterday also we were there for 3-4 hours, and tomorrow, on Friday, at 11 o'clock again, but that is in jail because the trial is taking place in the Adiala jail. There is a hall room which is there in the jail premises, and the courts come into the jails. Now, this is one country where instead of the accused being taken to the court, here the courts transcend to the accused. Not because of any reverence and respect for the accused, but because they want to bulldoze the trials to the exclusion of all others, because they want to maintain that secrecy so that it is not in public gaze whatever is happening inside, because nobody has free access into that jail premises, and least of all into the hall or into the courtroom, which is absolutely barricaded and manned by the personnel, by the intelligence or whatever you may call the jail authorities or whatever. So therefore, we had every time we have 1 or 2 hours spare to talk to each other, and we've been discussing things. And Khan thinks that the scripted, whatever is happening is scripted. So London plan, he thinks it's a London plan which has been being implemented. There was the Amirul Momineen who transcended from London, and even though he was a convict and he was a fugitive from law and justice, proclaimed offender by the courts of justice. Yet the ambassador, instead of incarcerating him and deporting him to Pakistan to serve his remaining sentence, he gave him a red carpet and saw him off at the Heathrow airport. And then here also in Islamabad also, the biometric went over there instead that he should go to the courts for a biometric. The biometric people came and took his biometric at the airport, and then the court said that they were waiting, and the NAB
Well, I will
prosecutor
say, Mr.
appeared.
Khosa, I will say that this is the kaleidoscopic political acrobats and show that we see in Pakistan and only in Pakistan. We have gleaned
Well,
a
I think
vast amount of pearls
I
of wisdom from you,
do tend
and
to
I
agree
think that
with
you
you. We
definitely
have been
deserve that
reduced
we should
into a
have one
banana
more session
republic
with you.
because without there is no constitution right now in functional. There is no constitutional functioning in the country. But to answer your question, whether the martial law would be imposed, the martial law cannot be imposed after General Pervez Musharraf was sentenced to death. And after that sentence, he never returned to Pakistan, and only after he died, his core was brought into Pakistan and was buried in Pakistan. So I don't think that any any chauvinistic designs would take place, considering that Article 6 postulates that as a high treason, and this is one offense which I think the courts, wherever the fractures may have taken place within the court's division, because unfortunately the Amirul Mominin has always been very divisive, dividing the court. And then Ziaul Haq was equally divisive. He created a sectarian strife and a religious strife and an ethnic strife and a heroin culture which has now grown up gigantic. And we fought the American war initially by breaking the USSR and making 79, we making the United States the sole superpower, and then 9/11 again, we cobbled down to the wishes of the United States of America, and we took it as our own war, and 80,000 soldiers and men were lost, and so much of damage was done. That also was not our war, technically speaking. So we have been used by the superpower and destabilized our own society, and now we are trying to push back the Afghanis into Afghanistan. There are 3 million and only 30,000, I beg your pardon, 300,000 have returned back as yet. 3 million.
So,
30,000 have
Mr. Khosa, it appears to me that
300,000 have just
the
returned back.
history is
So we are still in that turbulent situation where we do not know how we are going to shape up, because on the one side, the CPAC, which was trumpeted as one of the game changers for Pakistan and connecting, Gwadar port down right to the Middle East and going over there, crossing Europe, and then the Central Asian states would be connected, and China would have such a big corridor that everything would flourish here in this country with many projects in the offing. That also appears to have been stalled because of the superpower being antagonistically disposed, and our establishment or the government does not have the balls to stand up and say that no, we'll have an independent foreign policy and we'll stand on our own legs, because IMF is also crunching us like anything, and every time. If you have read that book where the American agent has written how the superpower operates in the rest of the world, I think that'll give a clear picture of what is happening in the country itself, whether we are taking independent steps. And if Donald Lu has said, and at one time even Henry Kissinger asks Bhutto to stop building this atom bomb, or he'll make an example out of Bhutto. And of course, we proved that yes, we did make Bhutto an example through Ziaul Haq and Maulvi Mushtaq, and we hanged him and put him in the graveyard. And now Imran Khan has also was threatened by Donald Lu through the Pakistani ambassador that if you remove Imran Khan from the premiership through a vote of no confidence, America will forgive you. And Donald Lu is an assistant secretary of South Asian affairs of the United States of America. So in compliance, we showed the door to the Prime Minister Imran Khan, and we didn't just stand by that alone. We incarcerated him, and we said, okay, fine, we will also sentence him to death or imprisonment for life, because that is what the sections 5 and 9 warrant in the as a sentence under the Official Secrets Act 1923, which was a colonial law imposed and enforced to enslave the Indian inhabitants, but we are using the same law to enslave 250 million people of an Indian independent Pakistan. But nevertheless, that is what cipher is, and we have incarcerated Imran Khan. So I don't know where we are leading, but nevertheless, there is no level playing field at this stage where we could say that the elections of the 8th of February 2024 would take place in the country, because the Supreme Court has now so directed that the President of Pakistan and the Election Commission of Pakistan were made to sit together to mutually agree on that date, and that date has now been sanctified by the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Normally, the election should take place on that day, but then we have already a precedent. The Supreme Court, this very Supreme Court, also directed the elections in Punjab to be held on the 14th of May 2023, and they have never been held, and the caretaker continues unabated. So anything, my son says, Dad, it's a funny country. Anything can happen anytime. So it keeps your blood
Yeah,
always boiling.
I would definitely agree. I definitely agree with you on that. But we definitely would like to have another session with you to learn more about what's going on. So thank you very, very much, Mr. Khosa, that you have been so candid and so amazingly articulate. So your oratory like a Cicero, and your wisdom like Socrates, and your wit, which we all are very impressed by, like an agile, lightweight boxer, both in the Supreme Court and in the political arena. So thank you very, very much once again for joining us, and we will invite you again in our studios. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am sorry my battery on this side is somehow lowered down. I'm not too sure whether I can make myself clear on what I'm saying, but nevertheless, it's been a pleasure, sir, talking to you, and all my best wishes. And I'm very hopeful that at the end of the tunnel there is going to be light. I see the brighter side of Pakistan, of a very, very invigorated, youthful, energized population, which is 70% beneath the age of 35 years. So we have globally, we have a dividend which no country has in the world. So I think this dividend we are going to convert our strengths. We are going to overcome the hiccups and the irritants that I have already spelled out. But having said that, I am very, very hopeful that my youth, who are absolutely agile and alert to the social media, because now they are connected so well globally with the internet, with this modern device in their hands. Everybody carries it. Because when I was the Federal Minister for Information Technology and Telecommunication, I had the figures that Pakistan has the highest density in the world, and therefore our youth and population is very, very abreast with the international events, and I'm sure that inshallah, we'll prosper amongst the Committee of Nations with dignity and pride. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Sardar Latif Khosa, once again. It was an amazing conversation with you, and I'm glad that you were able to express yourself in detail, brought those candid and nostalgic memories of your upbringing, your prodigy, really, and also to shed wisdom and the light on what's happening in Pakistan and globally. So we will definitely request Mr. Khosa to come to our show again. And thank you very much, audience, for watching our program. Please join us at Quews.news and our YouTube channel. subscribe, and support us. Thank you very much, and goodbye.